when we chat qualitative graphs, okay? Big fancy word, which just means, hey, when things are going on out there in actual life, okay, what does that look like? So, for instance, you've got these two graphs, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? This is just giving us, in general, an idea, if we were to put what you do in regular life on a graph, what it would look like. So, for instance, if you're kind of just going a fast, steady speed, maybe you're just walking at a nice, decent pace, as time passes, whether it's minutes, seconds, hours, whatever it is, as you keep walking, time keeps passing. Okay, but it's nice and steady. But let's say we don't always keep moving all the time. So if you think about a typical day, let's say at Harlem, and you get out of a class, maybe you're walking towards your next class at a steady speed, and then you get there, and what do? You sit in a desk for the period. So you're stationary for a while, and then maybe you decide you've got to go back somewhere else, so you go ahead and return and get back where you started. So what I want you to notice with these is, you know, if you get faster, the slope is going to get higher. And so, again, speed versus time, distance, if we get faster, it just kind of goes up a little bit. If it's steady, we stay the same. And then if we go up some more, but then if you decelerate, if you get slower, it's going to go down, which makes sense. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to draw us a graph that kind of lets us see these things at work. So I'm going to move this up a little. Actually, I'm going to actually zoom this out a little. It is not your eyes going bad. It's so we can actually fit this all on the screen. Okay. So we're going to make us a graph. So the first thing I got to figure out is what's going to go on my axes, so I can figure out, I can tell somebody what I'm doing. So let me start reading here. Mrs. Thorpe started driving to school, okay. Halfway to school, she realized she forgot her lunch and turned around and drove back home. While she was at home, she made herself a tea to bring with on the drive to school. Then she drove to school drinking her tea. Oh, that could be dangerous. Draw a graph to represent the story. Graph distance from home on the vertical axis. If my pen wants to cooperate here, just a second. Okay, so we've got distance from home on our vertical, our up and down axis, and time on the horizontal. Whenever we're doing qualitative graphs, it's important that we label the axes so people know, what's going on. So this becomes at the start. And I'll admit, the first time I did this, I had to stop a couple of times, so it might be wise to use a pencil as we're going here, just to make sure that if we make a boo-boo, we can fix it. Okay, Mrs. Thorpe started driving to school. Now, it didn't say she was driving like a crazy person, so it's not like, whoop, she's going fast. So kind of steady seems legit, so she's going along a bit. But then when she's halfway, she goes, oh crap. I forgot my lunch. She had to turn around and go back home, okay, where she would stop. So here, I'd say at least on the notes, I'd mark this stuff so I could tell, okay, what was I even doing with this? So she was heading to school. She was going to school, Then she was going back home. She gets back home. When she got there, she made herself tea, so that's going to take a little bit of time when you get back home here. So she wasn't really going nowhere. So then she drove back to school. A second time. Until she got there. Okay? That's kind of what we're doing here. We're letting someone see visually a story that I'm telling in a paragraph form. So that's why I said sometimes we might want to have the eraser available because we may get somewhere and be like, oh wait, that didn't make any sense. And then go there. So, keep this handy because we're going to be on page, let me move this out of the way, get my other notes out of the way. We're going to be on page 5 in your practice packet, the one that says to quiz 8, I believe, on the outside. Let me make sure. Yep. Okay, that's what the outside should look like. So part 3, page 5. If this is not what your page 5 looks like I said, I got some extras back on the table to kind of let us see how that goes. So for this first part of our practice, and you'll notice when you're in your packet, this goes a little longer because with all the pictures, it takes more space. So it's not that we got a lot more we got to necessarily do. And so it says, determine which graph best represents each situation. So we kind of look. We go, okay. A train pulls into a station and lets off its passengers. So here's an idea. Okay, the train is pulling in. So let's get a little help here. If you're pulling in, you're slowing down. So you're like, okay, so I'm slowing down. And then when I let off the passengers, I hope they stopped. If they didn't, that's going to be a problem. So which one of those graphs most looks like I'm slowing down and then I'm stopping? Okay. B, because if I look, this can be kind of funny. Okay, this train's kind of going speed and then just kind of stops. So it's like going along and then slam on the brakes. That's not a good idea. This one, I don't know if the train driver's like drunk or what, 'cause they're going speed. You got to jump off. And then this one, I'm rolling along and then all of a sudden, I just literally stop. It's like, poosh. Here again, we're just pulling in, we're getting slower. We get there. What's the difference between A and B? Because there they may be saying they were going a certain speed and then just stopped. So that would be like the equivalent of I'm pulling up to a stop sign and I'm going like 30 and then I'm like, oh, I see the stop sign, I slam on my brakes. Whereas here, I'm going 30, I'm going 25, I'm going 20, I'm going 15, and I'm just slowing my way down steadily. So D would be pretty darn close to what we were seeing here in A. Where here, actually in A, I'm not stopping. Because I'm not at 0 on speed, I'd still be going. So maybe I went from going 30 in the train down to 25, but I guess if you're getting off, I guess you're jumping off. Whereas here, at least, I got down to a speed of 0. I actually stopped. I just probably gave a few people whiplash. Yeah, that's the thing with these that we got to get used to. That's a little bit strange. Let me do 2, and then we'll go on pause for 3 here and see if we can kind of see where we're headed. A woman climbs a hill at a steady pace. Steady acceleration. Then starts to run fast down one side. Yeah. Okay, we're climbing as we come up the hill, and then when we get up there, we start running down the other side. Here, she's just chilling, and then she starts going up, but she's never going down. That doesn't make any sense. Here she runs up, and then she just stays on top. Not running down there, and then this, I don't even know what to call this. She like got to the top, and then started to come down, then decided she wanted to go back up, I guess. I don't know. But that sometimes is why drawing the pictures with the words as you do it might come in handy. It could. So I'm going to freeze frame for a minute. Check out number 3. See what you think. Give each of the pictures a look. If you're at home later, pause me for a moment to kind of see how this goes. And we'll see what everybody thinks. Man, I could see arguments for some of these. Well, I can't see an argument for one of them, but I have a feeling we're going to get an argument when I unfreeze and you see which one I picked, but we'll see. If we do, we'll discuss arguments. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Yes. Yeah, I picked A. Did anybody pick B? I was thinking about it. So, the only thing possibly with B would be like, okay, did you go up the first step and then stay a while? And then go up a step and then stay a while? I mean, it looks like steps. That's why I also considered it. I wouldn't say B is wrong. It's just this, if you're steadily climbing up, then you get to the top, you sit on your butt, and then down you go. Okay. But that one, I wouldn't argue B. I think B's a solid option as well. That would be good. Okay. Ooh. Now this gets a little more interesting. Okay. I'm going to keep this here with me. Let's see if we can do this. We got the distance from home. We got our time. Okay. So let me get my distance and time ready here. So Sarah walks from her home to the store. Okay. So let's see here. So here's home. Here's the store, let's say. So she's walking. Would you agree? Steady. She's not running. We're walking. I mean, I could even do that. I could be like walk, run. So, okay. Walking from her home to the store. Halfway to the store. So I'm halfway up here. Home and store. Halfway to the store, she realizes she forgot to bring money, so she turns around, returns home. It didn't say she ran, so I'm like, okay, so it's about the same pace. She's back home, gets her money, then walks all the way back to the store. So she walked a further distance this time. She was walking to the store. Uh-oh. Walked back home, got her money, and then got all the way to the store the next time. So that's what we're trying to work through and figure out. I just want to peek 1 second quick to the next page. Okay. I'm actually, for the moment, we're going to go past 5. I don't feel bad about leaving you to do a couple of these. Because I want to make sure that I show you some of the weird that can happen here. And make sure that we're looking good. So, okay. As we turn over to page 6. Roy visited his aunt and then returned home. So that's what this is a graph of. The distance time graph shows information about Roy's journey. Okay. So, How far was Roy from home? How long was he gone? When did Roy leave home? Okay, let's start with that. What time does it look like Roy left home about? I think that's awesome. Here's 2, here's 3. It's a little after. I think 2:15 is a great guess. And when did he get home? About 5. Okay, so we're back home here. We left right here. Okay. What time did he get to his aunt's house? So he left. And I would say at this point, since I'm not being told anything else, I'm kind of trying to think about this for a second. And I'm like, okay, let me try and think this through. So if he got to his aunt's house here, but then it's like he was walking again. So does it seem like it's possible that he left, because it looks like he's driving. I mean, 70 kilometers, you're not going to walk. So he's driving. Maybe he, like, I don't know, stopped to get gas or lunch or something, then got to his aunt's house. Yeah, so I mean, if we followed that down, 320, 330, anywhere in there, I think is a fair estimate. Even if some of you thought that he stopped here, I'd have no problem with you going with that. Okay, so if you put like 245 or something, that'd be okay. How long did he stay? Yeah, it looks like, I'd say somewhere in the ballpark of 30 minutes. Like 3:15 to 3:45-ish. If that, even if you said there 20 minutes, that's a legitimate thing. 96, where? No, gas. Gas. Back over there. So, here's the interesting question, though. And I guess this is what I was thinking before. What happened between 2:50 and 3:10? Now me, I decided he stopped to get gas. Maybe he needed to go to the bathroom. Maybe he stopped for a quick lunch because he knew his aunt wouldn't have anything he wanted to eat. I don't know. Maybe he had a flat tire. Didn't even think about that. So, since it doesn't tell me what happened, you kind of get to get creative here on what he was doing. Maybe he stopped at somebody else's house for a little bit. That's a possibility. So here's, though, where we get that last little piece of slope back in to our lives. So I look and it goes, okay, how fast was he driving? Well, let's see. Watch this slick move. We're going to use coordinate points. We're at about 4 o'clock. We're going to call this 4. So my start home time is at 4:70. Okay, because that's how far I am from home. When I get home, okay, the time is 5. And when I'm home, I am 0 away from home. By having those 2 points, if we think back, you're like, oh crud, here goes that formula stuff again. Yeah, but I've got it in my notes anyway. So I can get those listed. And so when I do this one again, I just copy y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1. Now, here, again, we've got to use a little bit of logic here. How fast was he driving? Was he driving negative? I don't think so. So, when we're doing this, sometimes we even have to override our own info to be able to make common sense. If this was a quiz and you put -70, am I going to mark it wrong? No. It did math work right. It's just kind of being able to apply it to something. Let's see how that goes. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to skip 7 for a moment. Because here we're kind of just drawing what we saw in number 6. But we can come back. We can have a chat about that. So I come over here, and I'm just going to peek ahead one more time. Got it. Okay. I don't know if I can get all this in my screen. We're going to try. Oh, wrong way. Everybody's like, Hardy, what are you doing? Okay. So I got all these time distance graphs. So down here, there's 6 situations, but they did one of them for us. That was nice, so we can cross off letter F. Each sentence describes one of the graphs. Write the letter of the correct graph next to the sentence. Okay, let's do a couple of them, and then I'll leave you with a couple too. Mr. Jones leaves work. Now again, leaves work. This is your distance from home. So remember, when you're looking at these, home would be down here at the bottom. Work would be up at the top because I had to go away from home to get there. So Mr. Jones leaves work and travels home at a steady speed. So I got to find a graph. Here he started at home. It's not that one. Graph B started at home. It's not that one. Graph E started at home. It ain't that one. It's got to be one of these two. He's traveling home at a steady speed. Which one does he actually get home in? D. Here, he started at work. He's traveling. He got home. And it's steady. It's not jagged at all. So that makes sense that that one would be D. I'm going to skip the next one. I want to go to this middle one here. Mr. Jones stays at work. So I look, and I'm like, home, home, home. Oh, he's not at home, and he's in the same place. He's not going anywhere. So he's just at work the whole time. So that'd have to be C. That's the thought process we're working through with these. Just trying to make those connections between distance and time. So, you're like, Hardy, you are just in jumpy. No, I want to get you started on all the parts, but I want to leave you something. So I get to 9. Like I said, I'm going to have a little on each of these. A little. Number 10, I think we'll just do together, period. Number 9. The speed time graphs represent the motion of a car. And if you can't read it, it says the vertical is speed and the horizontal is time. So let's see. The car is stopped. Which one's where the car stopped, like it ain't going nowhere? Yeah, the car is stopped on H. Like we're not going anywhere. Like the speed is literally 0. H, absolutely. Car's traveling at a constant speed. G, because that's about as constant as it gets. You guys getting the hang of this. The car is accelerating. E, 'cause it's getting faster.
F.
They're like, we know the other one now. Car is slowing down. Like, you like this stuff? It's like the most verbalization I've gotten out of this crew as a whole. This is good. So the reason I wrote my words on this is because then when you get to number 10, choose the correct words from the list to describe the motion during each segment of the journey. Accelerate. The slow would be the same as decelerate. And resting or stopping would be when you're flatlined. You have no speed because you're not doing anything, okay? Sitting on the couch, sitting in the car, whatever it happens, sitting in the drive-thru, whatever that is. So your job is to try and finish off some of the rest of these with the ones that we've done. But if you get stuck, let's chat. I'll jump back in. We'll help. If you need to be working on any of the prior ones in here, good opportunity to do that. Because like I said, Monday we're doing the review, and then it's like, well, we're done with this? We're done then. So, again, if you need to go back, we got keys, we got Hardy to help, so let's do this and make a good day.